Have you ever wondered what your birth month says about the deeper energies shaping your life? Imagine if understanding the symbolic energy of your birth month could help you. Uncover the dominant archetype silently guiding your choices. Decode the soul lessons your psyche is here to master. Understand why you're drawn again and again to a particular type of person, emotion, or challenge. And most importantly, break free from unconscious loops so you can embark on the path of individuation, the journey toward your whole authentic self. This isn't astrology. It's not mysticism. What we offer is a symbolic psychological lens grounded in over 30 years of Carl Jung's most profound work, from the Red Book to Psychology and Alchemy, from Answer to Job to the archetypes of the collective unconscious. Each month in its unique mythic rhythm carries an archetypal pattern, a psychic fingerprint echoing through time. In the ancient traditions Jung studied, and in his own active imagination, months were not merely dates, but living symbols, gateways into our personal and collective unconscious. If you're someone who feels a sense of unique destiny, yet struggles to define what that role is, has faced repeating emotional wounds and doesn't understand why they return, senses a pull from something beyond logic, as if life is whispering secrets through dreams, synchronicities, or emotional patterns, then understanding the symbolic power of your birth month may be the missing piece you've been seeking. What we're exploring is not fortune-telling, it's soul-telling, a map not of your fate, but of your deep structure, a pattern that reveals the architecture of your challenges, the magnet of your longings, and the shadow you've been called to integrate. Through this series, we'll guide you to discover your birth month's archetypal signature, reflect on your inner myth and how it has unfolded across your life, begin the sacred process of individuation, the journey Jung called the deepest meaning of life. If you've ever felt there's more to who you are than what the world sees, you're not alone and you're not wrong. The self is always calling through images, through suffering, through dreams. And the symbolic energy of your birth month may just be one of its languages. Let us walk with you on this path. Share your birth month in the comments and begin the journey inward. Carl Jung once said, "The collective unconscious is like an ocean in which each individual is a drop containing the memory of the whole. In this vast, mysterious sea, nothing happens by accident. The day you were born is not just a number circled on a calendar. It is a sacred imprint your soul chose long before you came into this world." We often view time as a straight line: year follows year, month follows month. But for Jung, time is not merely the ticking of clocks. It has a symbolic structure. Just as the seasons unfold in a circle, spring, summer, autumn, winter, they also mirror the shifting states of our inner life. Spring is birth, summer is blooming, autumn is reflection, and winter is withdrawal and preparation for rebirth. Thus, each month is more than weather or dates. It carries an invisible frequency, an archetype quietly shaping the way you love, think, feel, and dream. Even your deepest wounds, those buried in the collective unconscious, are touched by this archetypal rhythm. Time repeats, but the soul is ever new. Have you ever noticed that around your birth month, something stirs within you? Perhaps a vague sadness returns, or an unexplainable desire to grow or change arises. Jung called this symbolic memory, when time is not just a linear sequence, but a spiral that awakens ancient echoes inside us. Just as the moon stirs the tides, the turning of months affects the emotional tides within us. The month of your birth is the first threshold you crossed into the material world. It is linked to the archetypal energy present at that moment. Each season an archetype, each month a mirror to the soul. Imagine each month as a symbolic mirror. When you're born in a given month, the light from that mirror reflects upon you, leaving an invisible mark, not a fixed fate, but a symbolic tendency remembered by the collective soul of humanity. Winter, a time of retreat, reflection, and endings. Those born in winter often carry the archetype of the sage, the watcher, or the pattern breaker. These are deep souls, seemingly cold like snow, but burning with the fire of inner truth. Spring, the archetype of awakening and healing. Spring-born carry the energy of the rebuilder, the initiator, the visionary. They are like seedlings, fragile yet destined to transform the world. Chidon, summer, the season of full light expression and confidence. Those born in summer resonate with the leader, the nurturer, or the connector. Like the sun, they bring warmth and guidance, though they too must learn to nourish themselves. Autumn, a time of harvest, letting go, and transformation. Autumn-born souls embody the artist, the analyst, or the alchemist. With deep intuition, they see beauty in darkness and long for profound inner change. From astrology to soul work, does the universe have a map for you? Jung never dismissed astrology, but he viewed it through the lens of symbolic psychology. The position of the sun at your birth, one of humanity's oldest symbols of consciousness, reflects an inner state waiting to be realized. Yet Jung cautioned, do not let symbols define you. Instead, let them serve as maps within the labyrinth of the soul. Your birth month doesn't label who you are, but it can hint at the path you chose and the lessons you might encounter. For example, someone born in March is not destined to be a healer. Someone born in August is not fated to lead, but their starting point may carry different symbolic textures, and so their journeys may differ in shape and tone. What happens when you live against your birth archetype? Jung believed that every crisis begins with inner rejection. When we live out of alignment with our core archetype, due to trauma, social pressure, or simply not knowing it exists, the unconscious speaks out. It might whisper through recurring nightmares, silent emptiness, or the haunting feeling that I don't belong here. Often it feels like a disconnect from your true self. Understanding your birth archetype isn't about changing yourself, it's about reconciling with your essence. It's the gift of self-acceptance, the ability to say, I am who I am, and I came here to live this experience, no more, no less. Your birth archetype is an invitation into your mystical journey. You are not just someone born in July or October. You are the bearer of that month's message, the embodiment of that symbol. You came here not just to live, but to experience, embody, and transform that symbol into your own inner light. And that is exactly what we will explore in the chapters to come, from the creator of May to the leader of August, from the alchemist of November to the sage of January. Each archetype is a mirror, each birth month a key. Which one have you carried with you since the beginning? Each person is born through a door of time, and for Carl Jung, the month you were born isn't just a mark on a calendar. It's a sacred imprint on your soul map, the very point where the unconscious and the light first meet. In this video, we begin our journey into the 12 birth month archetypes, starting with the first 3 months, January, February, and March. These aren't just time markers, they are living symbols silently shaping your inner world since the very first day. January archetype. The elder, the sage in the snow. January doesn't arrive with loud fanfare. No fireworks, no dazzling light, just a thick silence wrapped in a mysterious winter mist. In that stillness, the elder appears, the archetype of January. Carl Jung once said, a wise man is one who dares to walk into the darkness with open eyes. Those born in January often embody this spirit depth, wisdom, far-sightedness, and a sense of responsibility beyond their years. Even as children, they carry the weight of being little adults. Others lean on them, but this often leads to a disconnection from their playful, carefree inner child. They learn to carry burdens, suppress vulnerability, and forget true wisdom is not in knowing, but in the courage to break open. Shadow isolation, self-imposed pressure, the feeling of, I'm not allowed to be wrong. Lesson learned to release the role of master and reconnect with the unhealed parts within you, with love, not judgment. Reflection? Are you living like a melancholy sage? When do you allow yourself to be wrong and still be loved? February, archetype the visionary. The seer in the dark. February, the shortest month, is also the most mystical. Everything seems still, yet beneath the snow life is stirring. This is when the visionary is born, the archetype of prophets, dreamers and intuitive souls ahead of their time. Those born in February often feel what's not yet visible. They sense the shape of futures others can't even imagine. Inventors, dreamers, spiritual beacons. But this gift of seeing too far can also isolate them, trapped between worlds, lost in dreams. Jung once called them vessels for the future unconscious, but that vessel must be grounded. These souls must learn to root their visions in action, turning insight into tangible change. Shadow illusion, escapism, or depression when the world can't keep up with their vision. Lesson: not every intuition is a mission. Choose one dream and take one real step toward it. Reflection. What dream inside you is waiting to come down to earth? Are you delaying it because it's not yet perfect? Honor March. Archetype the reborn. The one who returns from darkness. As March arrives, the snow melts and the earth breathes again. This is the season of rebirth, the first light after a long winter. Those born in March carry the archetype of the reborn souls who live many lives within one, who have faced darkness and returned as light. Jung wrote many are called weak, but in truth they are fragile souls carrying unnamed dreams. March-borns are intuitive, empathic, and often carry emotions that don't belong to them. They hear the soul's voice through dreams, music, and silence. But their sensitivity is also their challenge. They often lack emotional boundaries, lose direction, and are vulnerable to absorbing others' sorrow. Shadow dissolving identity, over-sacrifice, losing self in the act of healing others. Lesson. You don't have to try to be the light. You are the light, learn to hold it without losing yourself. Reflection. Are you being reborn in your own life, letting go of old parts of you that were never allowed to grieve? If the first 3 months of the year are whispers from the unconscious, a primordial depth where the soul begins to name itself, then the next 3 months, April, May, and June, are the soul's first leap into form. Here the ego begins to take shape. Emotions are touched and action is born. Carl Jung believed that every outer expression has its root in an inner symbol. That's why the 3 archetypes of these months are not just personality types, they are living symbols reflecting the psyche's natural evolution from the inner world into the outer. April, the warrior, the fire starter. April arrives like the first thunderclap of spring, sudden, bold, and full of activating energy. In nature's calendar, this is when spring blossoms into its full glory, buds burst open, green returns to the earth, and everything starts to move again. This mirrors the energetic frequency of the warrior, the archetype of those born in April. The fire starter lives by instinct. They are natural initiators of projects, relationships, and ideas. What sets them apart is that they don't wait for permission to act. They trust their gut and are often the first to step forward, even when others hesitate. Traits: fiery, fast, decisive, quick to ignite, quick to soften. Inner challenge. It's not about lacking power, it's about knowing when to stop. Warriors can get trapped in a cycle of action as a defense rather than acting from the heart. I've always felt I had to fight to be heard. But once I had everyone's attention, I realized I didn't know what I truly wanted. That's the symbolic lesson: victory is not external. It's in confronting the inner self that constantly seeks validation. Reflection. What are you fighting for? And deep down, do you truly want it? May. The builder. The root maker. If April is the fire that breaks ground, then May is the fertile earth where that fire plants roots. This time of year brings a sense of peace, stability, and blossoming, both in nature and the soul. Those born in May carry the energy of the builder, an archetype of beauty, value, and foundational love. They are the ones who create environments where others feel enough, love enough, safety enough, belonging. Traits: gentle, grounded, loyal, and often gifted with aesthetic sensitivity. Shadow rigidity. Builders love stability so much they fear loss, avoid change, and can become stuck, frozen by the fear of making a mistake. I loved beauty and peace so much I didn't realize I was losing my aliveness. And it's true. The builder isn't here just to be safe. They are here to create a foundation where the soul can bloom, and sometimes that means tearing down the very walls they built. Reflection. What are you holding on to too tightly? Can you release it to make space for renewal? June, the seeker, the open soul. June marks the transition between the first and second halves of the year, just as the seeker stands at the threshold between freedom and commitment, exploration and presence. Those born in June radiate the light of discovery, learning, and connection. They live through curiosity and experience. The seeker is a restless spirit. They bounce between ideas and experiences, relationships and roles. Not because they're unstable, but because they long to understand life through direct engagement. Traits: energetic, multifaceted, smart, and creative. Shadow distraction, chasing too many paths or losing themselves in others' lives while forgetting their inner voice. Jung described this archetype as one who learns through the darkness, meaning they don't find answers in books, but in their own confusion, emotions, and lived moments. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I can't stop. In truth, they don't need to know the destination. What they must learn is how to pause just long enough to listen to where they already are. Reflection. What are you searching for? Perhaps what you seek isn't ahead of you, but beneath your feet. If the archetypes of the early year represent beginnings in spring, carries the energy of fresh life, then as we move into July, August, and September, we enter a different dimension, one where emotions ripen personal power, awakens, and inner wisdom starts to shape systems for self-guidance. This isn't just mid-year in the calendar, it's a turning point in the soul's journey. By now, the inner self has gathered enough experience to begin steering its own course. Carl Jung called this stage the time of the second light, when a person sees themselves in the mirror and dares to place their hands on the wheel of their life. July, the nurturer, the silent healer. July, the month of gentle sunlight and soft nostalgia, is the symbolic realm of the nurturer, the caretaker, the quiet healer, the one who carries the emotional weight of others without making a sound. Souls born in July are deeply emotional and tuned in to the moods of others. They remember your birthday, bring you food when you're down, and cry silently in the shower so they don't bother anyone. But in giving so much, they often forget themselves. Jung once warned, love, if not supported by a strong consciousness, becomes unconscious sacrifice. Nurturers live to soothe the wounds of others, but who heals them? They must learn that self-love is not selfish. It's the foundation of love that doesn't turn into a burden. Traits: caring, empathetic, gentle, devoted. Shadow: always putting others first, difficulty, saying no, guilt for self-care. I don't know how to love without losing myself. Reflection. Are you protecting others from pain that you've never dared to face in yourself? August and the sovereign, the light-bearing leader. If July is quiet love, August is radiant presence and power. This is when the sun is at its brightest, and it's also the birth month of those who embody the sovereign, the ruler, the leader, the one who knows they weren't born to be invisible. Sovereigns don't fake strength, they feel instinctively that they have a mission. They have a gaze that makes people listen, a presence that earns respect, and they carry heavy responsibilities without needing to be asked. Jung once wrote, "He who does not sit on his inner throne will be ruled by others." Sovereigns must consciously choose their path or risk being controlled by expectations, fear, or unresolved past. Their shadow is deep loneliness. Everyone relies on them, but they don't allow themselves to rely on anyone. Traits: confident, inspiring, proactive, natural leaders. Shadow: controlling, afraid of losing power, unwilling to show vulnerability. I'm always strong, so others can lean on me. But who lets me be weak? September. The analyst, the seeker of order and truth. September, time of harvest and preparation, is the month of souls who search for truth through structure and logic. Those born now often possess keen intellect, analytical minds, and the drive to organize even their emotions like data. They are the analyst, the archetype of one who sees the world as a system to be understood, taken apart, and rebuilt. They're the friend you go to for sound advice. But paradoxically, they often can't apply that wisdom to themselves. Jung said, wisdom does not oppose emotion, it is the bridge that gives emotion meaning. Analysts fear chaos because chaos feels like loss of control. But that very fear causes them to avoid real emotions and build mental prisons of logic. Traits: deep analysis, well-organized, insightful, calm under pressure. Shadow: emotionally detached, using logic to avoid pain, unable to let go. I can organize other people's lives, but my own mind is always a mess. As the year draws to a close, nature begins its descent into stillness. The light softens, leaves fall, and everything seems to bow in quiet rest. In the psychological cycle, as in the natural rhythm, this is a season of refinement, a sacred pause, where the soul is invited to face its shadows in order to rediscover its authentic light. Carl Jung once wrote, "There is no enlightenment without first encountering the darkness." The final three archetypes of the year, October, November, and December, are living embodiments of this truth: the art of subtle connection, symbolic death, and the wisdom of one who stands at the threshold between past and future. Let us step into this space and explore each of these final Jungian archetypes. October, the diplomat, the one who connects through beauty. October is a month of delicate reconciliation, when leaves change color. Days shift gently, and nature seems to express a story through soft, melancholic hues. It is within this space that the diplomat, also known as the artist, emerges, the one who builds connection through beauty and empathic language. The diplomat possesses a rare ability to see both sides, to sense sorrow laced with hope, and to voice the truths others are afraid to say. They soothe conflict, create safe spaces for ideas to be shared, and use art not just for decoration, but as a form of soul-level communication. You are seen. You are understood. Yet in their devotion to outer harmony, diplomats often lose track of their own boundaries. They fear being disliked or disappointing others, and can easily be consumed by others' emotions without even noticing. I'm good at calming others, but I don't know how to soothe myself. Are you truly seeking peace or merely silencing yourself to avoid conflict? November, the alchemist, the one who dies to be reborn. November, marked by damp earth and rising mist, is the deepest time of the year when nature turns inward in preparation for renewal. The alchemist is the archetype born of this moment, a symbol of profound transformation where the soul grows through surrender and symbolic death. The alchemist isn't interested in surface appearances. They are drawn to what lies beneath wounds, anger, fear, and silence. They know truth isn't found in what's obvious, but in facing the death of old identities, so the spirit can be reborn in truer form. Jung saw this as a sacred stage. We must enter the darkness so the soul can have a chance to be reborn. Alchemists understand that each heartbreak is not an ending. It's the raw material from which deeper healing is forged. I keep falling into what breaks me, but I come back stronger each time. What are you avoiding because you fear it might destroy you? Perhaps it's trying to free you. December, the sage, the one who sees both past and future. December, the close of a cycle and the quiet beginning of another. In this soft light at the end of the year, the sage arises, an archetype that holds wisdom born of memory and shaped by hope. The sage doesn't collect knowledge just to know, they seek to understand existence itself. They often ask, why did this happen to me? Not as complaint, but as a gateway to personal and collective illumination. They see the bigger picture, rarely getting caught in the trivial details. But this can also make them drift away from the present, lost in memory or dreams that are not yet real. Jung envisioned them as one who carries a torch through a dark cave, not to lead others, but to illuminate truth for those willing to see. Sages often feel out of place, not because they aren't enough, but because they dwell in a subtle realm few others reach. I always feel like I see what others don't, but that also makes me feel alone. Is your wisdom being lived out in action, or is it still waiting to take shape? You've just journeyed through what might seem like a simple exploration, discovering the archetype behind your birth month. The fiery warrior of April, the steady builder of May, the restless seeker of June. But if you've truly listened and connected with each of these archetypes, you've likely uncovered something far deeper. You are not just one season, you are the entire wheel of time. You are not only the passionate warrior of April, you also carry the profound transformation of November, the quiet wisdom of December's sage, and the warm healing love of July's nurturer. Each archetype reveals a mask, a phase in your personal journey, a piece of yourself finding its way home. Carl Jung once said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You've done just that by learning to recognize the symbolic language of your soul. You've given the shadows a chance to remember the light. Archetypes are not definitions, they are awakenings. They don't limit you to a rigid mold. Instead, they serve as mirrors showing you not only who you are, but more importantly, who you are being called to become. They offer a symbolic inner map, not to label yourself, but to illuminate the psychological loops you've yet to resolve. Do you often feel like the constant supporter, yet secretly angry for not being seen? Are you trapped in cycles of reaction or emotional overdrive? Are you endlessly searching, yet never quite settling? You may be unconsciously reliving an archetype left incomplete, and now you carry enough light to finally see it clearly. The universe is never random. Your birth month is not a meaningless date on a calendar. It is the moment the universe opened a door and your soul stepped through, carrying a frequency, a lesson, a sacred vibration. Born in October, you came to connect beauty with truth. Born in May, you carry the mission of building and enjoying life's richness. Each of us is born on time, not too early, not too late. You are not a mistake. You are a living symbol. Who are you becoming? What symbol do you choose to embody? When this video ends, many details might fade, but let this question stay with you. The next time you react, love, rage, or retreat, pause and ask, Which part of me is speaking? Is this the warrior exploding, the builder protecting, or is the alchemist inviting me to transform? Because in the end, this journey isn't about becoming someone else, it's about becoming whole. If you saw yourself reflected in any of the archetypes, share below. What month were you born? Which archetype resonates with you the most? We read every comment because each story is a soul map. And if this video awakens something in you, consider subscribing not for the numbers, but because we're building a conscious community where each person dares to listen to their soul.